Ladies and gentlemen, how you all doing? This is Con Ulrich.
This is Rangru. Hello, hello, hello.
And folks, you might be wondering why the heck it doesn't look like we're on the Western Front or the Eastern Front. Well, folks, we are actually giving you some WARNO content. Yes, this is hot code right off the presses on the map of two ways. Rang, what is going on here today?
Well, on the left-hand side in the blue, we have Karma playing as only Russian division in game right now, 79th Guard tank. And on the right-hand side in the red, we have Greyhound playing the 3rd US Armoured. Yes, the colours are inverted. It's just a bug with the replay system currently.
So like we said, guys, this is super hot code. This actually comes from a one-day tournament that happened over this past weekend to kind of really push the boundaries of see what this game can kind of do. But we really wanted to kind of give you guys a highlight of some of the kind of crazy features kind of coming up, some kind of, to like wet your whistle about some of the really cool things that are happening here. And I guess the first of these is really kind of talking about the difference here about what capturing territory actually is. You notice we don't really have victory points anymore. I mean, we do, but you also notice that we don't see troops capturing them, just kind of working inside of that, right? What's the deal now?
It's the old war game system of having to capture the command zones and control them with command vehicles. So command vehicles also act as leaders, which is quite interesting. It was also very interesting. Greyhound's pushed down south. He is rushing the southern town here using the military police spam, which currently is time of recording. A lot of it's going to be time of recording. By the time you're seeing this, some of this stuff will be patched. It is a very powerful tool in the American arsenal. Those 5-man teams are very good to spam.
Absolutely. But we're saying about the capturing stuff now here too. You'll notice that when you're looking at these places, yes, we got a ton of infantry in here, but no, we actually don't have a lot of territory really kind of changing hands just yet. Kind of crazy thing. You actually have to have command vehicles coming in here, don't you, sir?
Yeah, you gotta. It's just a war game where you gotta really interesting dynamic in war game con when it comes to 1v1s, where you have to time buying command vehicles right, because that's a lot of points invested in a non-fighting unit, and you need him to win the match. But to win the match, you need fighting units to take the zone, so you can put the command vehicle in there to begin with. So usually with high-level players, and Greyhound and Karma are definitely very high-level. It'd be interesting to see how that dynamic works out.
So we only have 2 divisions right now. We have the 3rd Armored, and as you said already, we have a nice little division of Ruskies over here as well. And actually, you can see right now, first kind of air power outside of helicopters. Yes, there are helicopters here, and you'll notice that we also have ourselves bit of a heavy bombing run happening, and not entirely sure where he's going just yet.
Oh, he's trying to CV snipe the Bravo CV. Oh, sneaky. Yeah, it's really sneaky, but he can actually move the CV and not decap the point, unlike in War Game. So I feel like his Mutt is gonna get out of here just in time, as the MI8 is gonna rot shut. Oh no! He still has recon on it, so... Oof. Oh, that was close. But no cigar, and here comes the Kia RNTR, and down goes the hip.
Hip goes down. I mean, the air power not able to really achieve a whole lot. You can see right now, folks, that this is really all about capturing those points. If you kind of zoom out, you'll notice that each of these points, Golf, Trot, Juliet, really, I think it's Alpha through Juliet over here. Kilo, excuse me. There's a plus value in the upper left-hand corner right next to the name itself. That's actually the number of points you're going to be ticking over. So until now, we actually haven't seen any of the Ruskies kind of capping any points for themselves, not moving those command vehicles on in necessarily. Americans not quite as circumspect there.
Yeah.
And you can see right now, I think to a certain extent, I think the Russians are kind of paying the price for it. This American push in the south is certainly going to keep them on their heels. I wouldn't really want to put any kind of command vehicles here for quite a bit of time.
Yeah, we got quite a bit of the push for the military police, but here comes the Hind. Going to be blapping those military police. Without any real fire support, they're going to go down pretty easily. But the Stinger team is nearby, so they are going to be able to get a manpad shot off or two on that Hind. Yo, is a pretty armoured helicopter. I mean, just that frontal armour does make it a bit more survivable to anti-aircraft fire.
I do want to make a quick call out about something you might be seeing is along some of those infantry pieces thus far. And wait, where's this? Oh wow, Su-24 comes right back in. He's going after the Abrams, I think.
Be a good kill if he can get it.
Not quite able to though. The Abrams getting away in time.
Oh no.
Oh no, I mean it takes a little
There
bit
we
of
go.
stress damage, but nothing too crazy.
Yeah, yeah, and especially in a war game in here, like tank engagements can be, and more so here, can be extremely deadly. It's like everyone has like a panther tank, so to speak, and everyone just blows each other up in a single shot. So you have to be very careful and ready to maneuver your tanks about and make sure that you're in the perfect position. Otherwise, you're going to get blapped.
One thing I did want to call out though is the idea that infantry, we have stuns actually going on here. Stuns are, I mean, as of this moment, not quite the same kind of stress mechanic that we used to see over here in SD2. What's the whole stunning thing mean, sir?
Yeah, it's essentially just you get shot up a bunch and, well, you get stunned and you can't fire for a bit of time, similar to what they had in a war game, but it's different from a cohesion. It's a little bit weird, but you can't retreat units, so it's not like you can just run away. You just kind of have to sit there and take it. Yeah, well, seeing just a lot of small skirmishing. The Heinz airmen and snipe down the Kira. But here comes the F-15. I think he lost line of sight on the Heinz, so he's not going to be able to do all that much.
Certainly seem to, anyway. We are going to see some BMPs. In fact, we actually have ourselves a nice little bit of a sneaky kind of BMP coming to the south. Oh, wait, Eagle's right behind the SU-24. Jeez, that was a... Oof.
Yeah, and with no anti-air, Greyhound is going to have a very easy time just flying about and blowing things up. But really everything that's happened here. We're seeing Karma deploying a lot of Superiors, not with satchel charges this time, but with thermodynamic rocket launchers, which is definitely much cooler.
Oh yeah, thermobaric rocket launchers are absolutely insane here in the first place. Okay, so as of this instant, yes, I'm aware of the fact that this is totally going to change in very, very due time. Infantry matchup, how's it look? Russians ahead, US ahead.
US is definitely in a better position right now. They have more interest in infantry options compared to the Russians, and just that military police spam can be very good. And also just the American engineers are also very well equipped as well. Well, the Russians do have a lot of good IFEs for the BMP 1s and 2s. I mean, the Americans also get Bradleys, so the Americans are definitely ahead in that regard. We're seeing another Apache being brought in, run with a bunch of rockets, and with not a whole lot of dedicated anti-air here. Oh, no, here comes the Hind, and that Hind is doing some serious anti-air work.
He absolutely is, but that Stinger team is still in the south, so
Yep.
let's not be too sanguine just yet. And you can see right now, I mean, half of Foxtrot was taken, but it's still not being completely held. In fact, it's being neutralized right now, isn't it, sir?
Indeed it is, and so far, it's really confusing with the colours being inverted here. Greyhound is getting at +1 point advantage if the colours aren't buggered up in the scoreboard. I really hope they're not.
You know, I think I don't mind the communists being blue for a little bit. I mean, that works for me, right?
You know, I'm a better dead than red guy, you know?
I guess it kind of makes a perfect, you know, a bit kind of sense there.
Yeah.
I understand that. So, for those of you who are wondering, wait a second, there's not really a command vehicle here. Yes, actually, that Abrams is in the northeast side. That's who it is for, you know, Greyhound. Wait a second.
F-15s. Wallies.
Why? Those are... Okay, so the F-15s right now are dedicated air-to-air interceptors. So, quite confused on that.
Yeah, I think maybe he's trying to snipe the Hind from earlier. I mean, there is that delay time when bringing airplanes in, so that could have been it.
True.
But he does bugger them out just, you know, because there's nothing for him to shoot, and you don't want to be exposing those aircraft. They're pretty expensive. But Karma is slowly but surely kicking Greyhound out of the town here. It's getting pretty bloody, and I do love just how this game looks. I mean, just looking in the town, we're seeing a lot of craters, destruction effects, a lot of smoke and fire all over the place. This looks like a bloody battlefield, Khan.
It absolutely does. I mean, we aren't quite to the level just yet where, you know, Katyushas are firing in every direction, but I'm sure we'll get there soon sometime.
Of course. But we're just seeing Greyhound spamming the military police to hold Yat town, and he's managing to keep a foothold on the edge here.
Well, and so long that he has that command vehicle there, it's not really going to bother him too much.
Mm-hmm. He doesn't even need to capture the zone, just keeping it neutralized is getting him that very nice +2. Because that's an enemy, that's on the enemy side of the map. It's really one central contested zone, which is in the center. So, if he can just keep the contested zone in the center contested, and the run down south contested, he's going to be in a very good spot in terms of map control.
So, over here for the Russians, who are the Russians? Where's the command vehicle for that? Is that this Ural down here to the southwest?
Yeah, it's, you have the BRDM. They have I mean, you know, you have multiple different types of commander vehicles. It's an interesting dynamic wherever you take the tank runs, because you have a lot of tank slots available, but not high availability, while the logistic runs, like the BRDM2s, you get, like, I believe 3 or 4 per card, which is definitely much better, but they die rather quickly, while M1 Abrams is pretty tanky.
Certainly seems to be in this case. Now, one thing I'm noticing here is the Stinger teams tend to be very, very active. How good is the infantry-based anti-air?
It's pretty mediocre. As we're seeing, it's taking quite a few missiles to blow up at one Mi-8. But they're cheap, and you can spam them, and they're mainly just good as an ambush anti-aircraft weapon more than anything, especially against helicopters. It's more just a deterrent, like at Mi-8, as you've seen, is being forced to fall back, because he doesn't want to get shot down, and honestly, I don't blame him.
Now, one thing I'm sure some eagle-eyed people out there have noticed is that there's also a cohesion meter on the lower left-hand side. Is that is this basically the same kind of thing as just, well, what is it? Go for it.
It's essentially fatigue in Total War. It's really what it is. Right now, it's having high cohesion is pretty strong. They're probably going to nerf it by the time you see this video, or maybe not, who knows. But yeah, it's essentially units are fighting and taking lots of damage. They're going to have lower cohesion and become less useful.
Exactly.
In the center, we are seeing Karma make out push, and it's actually managing to capture that zone. It's a pretty good counter attack compared to, I don't say losing, but having Foxtrot contested. And the center of this map really does open up a lot of doors, as, you know, it's kind of like the central roadway network. He can put pressure down south into Foxtrot, he could hook up into Charlie, heck, maybe go into Alpha. The road is his oyster.
You know, actually, I was watching this Abrams over here, and the Abrams is he's not quite hulled down per se, but he certainly is in those trees. Not a particularly great place to be engaged. T-64 kind of sidling up that forest here, and with the supply truck just kind of backing off. Wait a second, another Su-24? Yeah, the Su-24 wants it badly.
He does, but the F-15's coming in once again and getting a pretty easy kill. Cluster bombs are not going to hit anywhere near the Abrams, but it is forcing him back slowly but surely, and these T-64s are, you know, allowed to maneuver up safely.
You know, one thing I'm struck by here, other than the fact that there is fuel, which, you know, as you will probably understand, if your vehicle's running out of fuel, you don't move. You pick up a pillbox. One thing I'm kind of noticing is that it feels like these scout pieces, you know, of warfare thus far, are rather heavily armed comparative to what they might have been a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I mean, like the Bradley recon vehicle is extremely good for its, you know, its role ability to blap tanks with those TOW-2 missiles. Yeah, reconnaissance is just as important as ever, and they do have a lot of firepower. F-15's coming in once again and sniping another Su-24. Greyhound really needs to start investing into some dedicated anti-air to try and shoot down those Eagles, because they've managed to do a lot of damage so far.
No, one thing I'm trying to think about, I'm still learning all the availabilities on cards really kind of overall. Apaches here, why is it that we've not seen more helicopters coming over here from, you know, our boy Greyhound?
I already saw them pretty early on, but I think just the threat of man-patch and just the investment in ground-based units, and also just the Hind just shooting everything down, because that Hind is a really good counter to the Apaches right now, is pretty much the reason why. I mean, it's really just coming down to this infantry fight in the town, and we're seeing the military police. I do find it funny how you can put multiple people in a single sector currently, so those military police are rather concentrated in that zone, and I don't think that's going to go too well for him. Karma's actually invested quite a lot of infantry in here, as well as BMP-25 support.
That's true. But I still posit that, again, he doesn't really need to worry about this too much until the Abrams SCP goes down. So, not really the biggest of care here. Ooh. The Kiowa Warrior, I mean, not super impressive, perhaps? Interesting, okay. The Kiowa Warrior over here down, in the southern side, not quite the most dangerous, but still at the same time, I feel like you can kind of go in a couple of runs and just kind of maybe pick off a tank or two, and that could be just as good, I think, as anything really else.
Yeah, it's honestly a really good recon vehicle, because it's only 175 points, where our T-64BV is 235 points. Even if it does a suicide run and get killed, it's still a pretty good trade, and just the ability to be able to spot stuff and then blow it up with a Hellfire missile is not bad at all. That's a pretty good 1-2 combo.
You can see right now, wait a second, is that Abrams being engaged here? I can't even tell you at this point. T-64 probably going to be engaged with M35?
Yep, trying to deny enemy supplies. And this is a pretty good push that Karma is making. He's gotten a little bit disorganized in Delta. I mean, we've seen the Bradley maneuver around in the hills here, trying to get something sneaky. But he is just trying to outreach his map control. Maybe get into Charlie, that would be a good play. The supply lines from, getting his reinforcements from his sector over to Charlie is bloody long in comparison to Greyhound supply line zone.
Well, and let's not kid ourselves either. There still is an Apache coming on in. There's actually, I think, I would argue a decent amount of anti-air still in the area. With the F-15s flying cap, shouldn't it be too scary?
Yep. Yep, you do have, Karma does have an Igla, or a few Iglas nearby, both sides really favouring quite a lot of man pads, and rightfully so. They're really bloody cheap and decent against helicopters and forcing them back. But I'd be curious to see how Karma, exploits his central. Bradley still mucking about in the forest, yeah, and he could get into a very good spot to deny enemy supply lines.
Would he actually engages right now? We'll see.
And down south, it's really all coming down to the southern side here. It's just an absolute grind in this town, as both sides are just throwing infantry galore. Greyhound bringing in some mechanized rifles, which are pretty beefy with all their M249s.
Well, that shouldn't be too shocking here. I mean, having those M249 Bravos, excuse me, M249s, you're right, absolutely, excuse me. M249s, a decent amount of firepower with these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing more aircraft being moved on in. Yikes.
Oh,
those Spetsnaz
Gru.
Wait. Oh
Yeah, Spetsnaz
yeah,
Grus, how you say it.
Those Grus are obscene. There's 3 of them down here. There's a lot of potential firepower.
Yeah, oh god. Yeah, F-15's trying to get snipe. Kiowa coming in. But the Gru do manage to bail out. And these are pretty nasty infantry. AS Vals, VSSs, RPG-27, as well as exceptional training. All good, just veterancy, I should say. It's not war game. They are pretty nasty to deal with.
For the time being, yes.
I think
now,
Greyhound is...
I'm sorry, please go ahead.
I think Greyhound is starting to lose a bit of that momentum down south. He's lost a lot of his core frontline infantry here, and Karma is going to be able to push him out of the town soon. And he should be able to spot the M1A on Abrams as well. He's pretty close to it, but Greyhound does have that interesting little strike package just north of the command Abrams. Yeah, it's kind of in an odd spot considering where Karma has positioned himself.
Now, what I'm noticing here, there seems to be a decent amount of veterancy across the field. Is it going to be kind of a standard thing happening over here for us for WARNO?
Yeah, I think the veterancy curves in WARNO is definitely much better compared to SD2. There's actually a good reason to take highly vetted stuff, especially right now. The veterancy bonuses, increase in rate of fire and all of that. It's probably, that's like everything in this cast, stuff is going to get changed at some point. But overall, veterancy is a very good... It's very good to take veterancy on your units, is what I'm trying to say with many words.
Well, and that certainly will seem to be the case, isn't it, on a kind of regular basis?
I do like how Karma here's meant to steal an American supply truck here. Now using it to supply his own infantry.
Ooh, traitor. Mechanized rifles. Okay, so I'm using a really, really wonky kind of rocket path thing over here. What? Oh no, it's the
It's
Flash.
a dragon.
My bad.
Oh, the engineers Flash.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a.
Yeah.
There's like the small 5-man team with also the thermopneumatic launcher, or the the rocket launcher from Commando. Yeah, in real life it apparently wasn't good, mainly due to the fact it had a tendency to leak, and leaking explosive fiery residue is not exactly ideal for the foot soldier.
Forgive me, I'm kind of watching these reinforcement routes over here. One thing I'm noticing is that strike package you were talking about over here from Greyhound, he's not being very aggressive with it at all, and I can't help but feel that there's more than a little bit of fear about losing more of his rotary wing aircraft. In fact, we've actually seen a couple of times already patches in the southern part of the field, and it's, the Russian equivalent of this thing are the IGLAs with their Iglas. Well, really is kind of dropping with almost with what seems to be very little difficulty.
Yeah, we are starting to see Greyhound investing quite a bit in tanks. He's bringing 2 M1A1 Abrams over into Delta here. And there's a lot of infantry he has to contest with, and right now the Russian infantry are pretty scary. I mean, the Metis, ATGM infantry are nuts, and there's actually... Okay, there's no regular model strictly nearby, because currently definitely going to be changed by the time you're seeing this video. They have 30 AP on their RPG-7s, which is a little bit crazy, so you might as well, for Karma's sake, make the most of them right now.
And, not for nothing, but that penetration power, not bad at all.
No, that's... like, pretty much means it should be able to one-shot most things in the game, which is a pretty powerful RPG. Greyhound is starting to move his tanks through the center here. Those HT Abrams going in hot, knocking out an Igla. And I mean, at close range, those Abrams are pretty nasty. They do have 2 machine guns, which does improve their CQC firepower by quite a bit.
Yes, sir, indeed. Forgive me, I'm watching this military police over here with the M67 as that T-64 continues to linger closer and closer. It ain't perfect, but it's not bad either.
Oh, but the Spetsnaz crew are going to come in and clear them out. And honestly, M67 is pretty... It's really only good for dealing with like BMPs and other light vehicles. The T-64 is going to laugh off any shots from you.
That may be, but there still are a couple more Abrams moving in and around this small penetration.
It's all going to come down to the Abrams versus the T-64s. We're seeing one of the T-64s being forced to fall back here. Engaging the Abrams. Oh, Abrams only on 1 HP. And he does go down. That's a pretty good kill here from Karma. Kia Aurora coming in to avenge his comrade. And gets the 1-hit kill. Pretty good work here.
I get the feeling also that this Abrams hit squad has the potential to be fearsome. And I say the potential because you still do actually have kind of those Metis, ground rockets, but those aren't super as scary as some of the other material thus far.
Yeah, I've only one of them, yeah. Oh, it gets used to the tank smoke. Honestly, best change in WARNO, bloody tank smoke. It only took him a decade to implement that feature.
Was that 3 games? Yes.
Well, down south, Phil Karma has managed to completely capture Foxtrot here. So that's a pretty big play. He is actually gaining that +3 right now because he does control the center. So he is slowly catching up, well, slowly, actually quite quickly, catching up to Greyhound here. He doesn't really need to maneuver out of any of his positions. As long as he controls the center and south, he's in a good spot. But, oh, Greyhound does capture the center, so he's going to be neutralizing that point.
One thing I'm already finding myself kind of fascinated by, and actually he's going to cap that point as well. One of the things I'm going to be fascinated by is placement really of command vehicles, because I feel like that's going to be such an integral part of the game of being able to take a position, yes, but also then being able to hide your own troops within that position.
Yeah, yeah. I know you're not super familiar with War Game, Khan, but in War Game, a huge part of that game was CV sniping. Just being able to guess where the enemy CV was, and then dropping a bunch of cluster munitions on that spot, and essentially playing Whack-A-Mole with high explosive rockets. And in WARNO, it's going to be exactly the same thing. That frontline mechanic does kind of give away your position, but it also makes up for the fact that you can actually move your command vehicle and still be in control of the sector. As back in War Game, if the command vehicle was in motion, you did not have the sector under your control.
Actually, the thing I think I was struck by is I remember you telling me a story of the yesteryears of that game, and I think it was about a 30-second game in. I think you actually brought in some anti-air material, and you launched a rocket from the other side of the map, and I think it one-shotted the enemy.
Oh, it's from a replay, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, some stray rocket managed to kill the only command vehicle, like on literally a run in a million shot, and it ended the game. Yeah. I believe I have it on my channel somewhere as a replay highlight. Or down south, we're seeing that H.A. Abrams trying to move on through, but getting shot in the side by the Meta is not exactly ideal, but popping in that smoke in the nick of time. And we're also seeing Karma also move like a sort of strike package out of the town and into the central area of the map here. It's got that nasty TA-to-U.
One thing to mention here, folks, is that line of sight, it works a little bit differently right now, but I still know that there was some kind of complaints that the line of sight is a little inconsistent as well. So you've ever seen, at least for me anyway, if you've seen me kind of pop on the line of sight and you think to yourself, well, why isn't he engaging that target, or why aren't they able to shoot there? It might just be that there's a teensy tiny bit of kind of tweaking that needs to happen just yet.
I really do like currently with like destroyed city blocks in the game actually open up the line of sight. So it really actually changes the dynamic of city fights, as everything just gets blown up to hell and back. You can actually kind of clear a pathway of destruction, so to speak. Oh, the Kia Arroyo does get sniped. Igla coming in hot, yes. I mean, those Kia Arroyos are a real tough customer versus those TA-to-Us, so getting those snipes is going to be vitally important.
And you might have just seen the pop-up just now. This still is up to 2,000. So right now, we do have the Americans actually up at 75%. So despite the fact that they have taken some rather, incredible losses here, if they win just from capping, I mean, who cares how many troops die? That's kind of the important part, isn't it? So
yeah, it's just about getting those command points in the end of the day. It's not about the KD ratio. But this is really going to force Karma to do something quickly. At +3 point advantage will catch up to you very quick, because that's 3 points every second, and he only needs like only 350 points now to take the victory. So Karma, he is rushing in that CV to try and capture Delta here. He needs to clear himself a path. That's what that TA-to-U's job is. Will it work?
I don't know that it will. I really don't know.
Kira coming in, snipes Concourse, not really that big of a deal, yeah. And H.A. Abrams managing to get a pretty good engagement, yeah. He does have the higher HP count compared to that TA-to-U. So this is going to be tough for Karma to get that CV in. He's going to really have to sneak it in into like the northwestern side.
Yeah, there's potential for it. I can't say that it's going to be really that great for sure, but, hey.
All engineers with the dragons sneaking about had a potential to get a good kill, yeah, but they are spotted and they are going down very quickly, because 125mm cannon is pretty nasty stuff.
Oh, nonsense. I'm sure it could be bigger than that. And really, for that matter, have they been able just to engage that enemy command? That would have been, I think that probably would have been, pretty much to the death of it.
Oh, Karma does manage to get the CV onto the central point, and Greyhound, he's still looking decent. He has H. Abrams and the Kira coming in hot, but Karma is flanking around some Motor Strengthly BMP infantry. Oh, he's going to be shooting the enemy CV here, I believe. Does he have line of sight?
He doesn't
I
have
think
line of sight.
I don't think he has range, though. I mean, it is only a command jeep, so machine gun fire will knock it out.
Well, and especially when he gets stunned like that as well.
Oh, the Kira coming in really dangerous here. He only has a single hit point left. He's just going to go down to machine gun fire, it seems. Here we go. And this is, Karma just kind of needs to go all out at this point. He does not really have the time to afford to lose any sector. He has a good amount of territory down south to buffer him from losing Foxtrot. If he was again to go, he'd be in a really good spot, even just contesting it.
I think it's kind of one of those things where it's like, yeah, I mean, it'd be great if he'd be able to do that. However, that still is a bit of a tall ask, even at this particular moment. You know, I am noticing the Soviets do seem to have more than just a little bit of numbers parity here. And that's the, oh my gosh, the CP vehicle is going to go down. There's no way in heck this guy that survives this in the central position.
Oh yeah, he is utterly surrounded. Why is he driving forwards and not backwards? That's my question.
Well, I admire him for thinking that he could go and win from the front, but that's not how it works, my friend.
Nope, and there we go. Command zone is going to be captured, and Karma is going to be getting that juicy +3. The question is, will he be able to hold it?
Now, I do want to see that there are a couple of Abrams that have been just kind of, you know, on the northern side here. I don't know if this is his way of saying, hey, let's maybe consider kind of pushing north and take something like Hotel. I'm not sure I really feel that. One thing I'm noticing really about two ways here, this particular map, is it doesn't have, it has, yes, it definitely has some choke pointy material that's just gonna happen just by the nature of the game itself. But I am noticing and appreciating that there's enough of a road network and enough shot blockers that it doesn't just be, you know, I control one particular intersection, therefore the entire match is over.
Yeah, Eugene has done a very good job so far, apart from the chemical map, with their map design. Because there's one very simple, like, map design aspect they've took into account, and that is they just made all the maps symmetrical, which makes balance, I mean, yes, it's more boring, but it makes balance so much easier. And a lot of the maps so far are really well designed, like we're seeing. Like, I think this is supposed to be a 2v2 map, but it works really well for 1v1 currently. We're seeing we've just got a lot of front where you can actually maneuver around, flank, use helicopters. Aircraft is still a little bit confined in the battle space, but they've done a very good job so far, so I'm happy about it.
It does seem entirely fair there. Here's a question. Go ahead,
no, we're just seeing, like, in the center, got the 3 M1 Abrams going to be going up against the CATUs. It's going to be a pretty pivotal battle here. This is a majority of both armored forces. Well, Karma still has a bunch of TATUs in reserve. Maybe discretion would be the better part of valor and bike her off. No, he kills 1 Abrams.
I suppose that should not be surprising either. Now, more Spetsnaz being brought on in the meantime, what the heck is that Eagle looking for? Fangs out, my friend. Fangs out. Go after it.
Good question. Why is he trying to kill?
I'm not entirely sure.
In Greyhound really invest heavily in a bunch of engineers into the center. They are the ATGM runs, so they don't have the best anti-infantry capabilities yet. So the models trying to are going to be able to hold them off for the time being.
Well, as it is right now, we are still going to be seeing that +3 is happening. Geez, that the Eagles, you know, I'm not sure I'm really feeling this consistent just effort inside the vehicle, kind of the Eagles investment. I mean, sure, decent band. Same time, not sure that these fighter craft are really doing what they need to do.
Yeah, I mean, he has airspace superiority, which is nice, but you get like bomber planes and A-10s and whatnot trying to do the work here, not like trying to do strafing runs with a fighter plane. It's not like SD2 where you use a Fokker or just blap everything, because it might as well be a ground-based strafing plane. Oh no, he's just trying to snipe some of the helicopters here. I can
Yeah,
kind of see what he's doing.
and I get that, but I don't feel necessarily that's going to be the greatest investment.
Yeah, he really needs to be blapping these tanks. He needs an A10 out. Because right
Actually,
now...
what he is doing, he's
Oh!
completely ignoring the center. He's going to the north.
Oh, I like this a lot.
Fascinating idea.
I like it a lot. As we're seeing up north here, the north is completely and utterly, well, disarmed. The MI8 is just going to be seeing the horror of the engineers rush on through here. We're seeing Karma invest heavily up north. He's already bringing in the CV to recapture the point. But, well, Greyhound only has to hold for a small period of time. And, well, actually, it's only a +2 sec. So Karma will still be getting the +1 by holding Delta. If he kills the CV, he needs to bring a CV out of his own to really make the most of it. So this could be pretty pivotal, Khan.
It could certainly be pivotal. It could certainly be pivotal.
The BRDM2 rushing out, trying to escape the engineers. Well, run into some mechanized rifles, and that dragon says hello, and the rare dragon does with a fiery breath.
It certainly seems to be the case, that's for sure. Now, ooh. Motorstroke over here in the meantime kind of says, "Ah, you killed my brother, prepare to die." He does got his own kind of Bradley here in the meantime. Also, I'm flattered that the M3A1 Bradley thinks he can go in and successfully engage a T-80.
Yeah.
I don't think I really value his chances that highly.
Yeah, in ambush, those things can do pretty well, but in a head-on fight like that against an MBT, you're going to have a bad time. The Karma has managed to bring in that command infantry in. He knows where the engineer's dragons are, so he just needs to maneuver around the northern side and probably get into one of those farmsteads. The GG. And
indeed,
well, it's technically a draw, but I'm fairly certain Karma got the victory, yeah.
Yes, I would say so as well. And I mean, kind of looking at the big big picture on this material, we are kind of noticing here that Russians with that kind of hind play, man, those things are definitely game changers, I would argue.
Yeah, that's pretty The Hinds are pretty interesting right now because they only have like anti-aircraft Hinds. I'm wondering if they're gonna give them some ATGM based Hinds, so they actually have some anti-tank capabilities on their helicopters. I'd hope so. I'd hope so, but yeah, I mean that's just really good maneuvering from Karma, being able to retake the central part and especially the southern side. Greyhound did a lovely job early on with that infantry push in the south, but he lost a lot of momentum. I mean, the military police spam works, but without any fire support, they just kind of fall apart like Urset's trooping.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the numbers themselves, too, are going to be kind of a consistent, I would argue, liability.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 128U managed to pick up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Abrams. Made himself a tank ace. Not bad.
Surkov over here? Yes.
Yeah, Surkov. And Americans, nothing really too crazy. Karma, Manson to trade.
There is one Abrams who does decently well. And I mean, Dean over here, 4 BMPs, an Igla, and a T-80U. So, can't say that things are god-awful for him, but, you know, just unfortunately not quite able to translate at least a lot of their helicopter gunships into confirmed kind of value on the ground.
Yeah, those Apaches came in pretty hot early. Apache rockets are pretty good cheap fire support currently as of recording. But once they all kind of got shot down, he lost that fire support for the military police, and that was kind of it. And Karma just traded very effectively with his tanks.
Indeed, he did. But folks, I think for right now, that's going to do it for our coverage here of this particular replay from WARNO. As you guys can see, definitely a lot of really cool, interesting ideas going on into this particular game, and we really kind of hope you kind of join us with it as we kind of continue to evolve. more of it, I think, over here on Thursday. So, Rang, any more thoughts about this particular game here?
No.
Folks, you know what that means. Until next time, I'm Conor Rick.
I'm Rangru. Take it easy.